Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here, and welcome to my review for the series premiere of Power Rangers Dino Fury, Destination Dino Henge. And as expected, I did enjoy the first episode because, even though I've had my problems with this recent era, I actually have enjoyed all the beginning episodes. And not only did I enjoy it, but there was some unexpected surprises. I'm still going to remain cautious, but there was some really cool stuff in this one. So let's talk about it. So we start with our point of view character is actually Amelia, who works for it's like a BuzzFeed magazine. It's like Buzz Blast. We got that from the descriptions. And she basically is doing puff piece reporting, but she wants to report on paranormal stuff because that's what interests her. And there's like a lot of people pushing back on paranormal stuff. Like the reporter lady and then Ollie later, which bothers me a little bit just because this eventually establishes that it takes place in a world where Power Rangers are known, presumably the main PR world. And I'm always bothered when you live in the PR world where giant monsters and aliens and mutants attack, but you're like, ghosts, come outside. So, I don't know, that just bothers me. But the point is, she's wanting to investigate Dino Henge for ghosts. I'm not sure where she equated Dino Henge to ghosts, like ghost dinosaurs, which seems a little funny, but the bottom line is she wants to get out there and investigate something strange. And when she's out there, she thinks she sees something in the fog, and that's when we meet Ollie, who she accidentally nets. I still don't think that was fully, Ollie was there, obviously, but I think she might have seen Void Knight or somebody else there, because there was something moving fast there, unless it's just me, but I think there was something else there that maybe will come back later. But that's how they meet, and he's out there researching with his mom, who's like an archaeologist. Is he an archaeologist? Something that investigates old stuff. And she's investigating Dino Henge, and she's putting up like a drone, and that's when she discovers through like an echo scan that there's a base under there, basically. But then they get stopped by this, ranger, not like a Power Ranger, but like a park ranger or something that doesn't want them working there. I don't know if he's supposed to be one of the comedic characters. Some comedic music came on, but it wasn't Bulk and Skull music, so that's at least something. But him and Amelia are picking up the site after that. That's when Void Knight arrives. He crashes in, and he done blasts a hole into the ground. It's funny because based on the opening theme in the trailers, I had theorized that somehow the Dino Henge statues would like portal you into the base, but that's wrong for a couple reasons. But I like how from the first part, I'm like, oh, he's gonna find a portal through the stone, and then he just blows up a hole in it. So, and then they just follow him down there, and that leads into the preview clip from yesterday, where while he's looking around, we see Zato and Solana. Was it Solana? The dino person is, I'm gonna just call her Solana for now, but I can't remember, I think it's like Solana or Solana. I'll learn it eventually. But he's trying to wake up Red Ranger and it's not working, and when he's about to get attacked, Ollie steps up by taking out one of the swords, and then, he tries to give him the key to the henchmen. The henchmen actually are, as we saw in the preview clip, originally like guardians of the base for the good guys, but Void Knight catches the key, uses it, and then he gets them working for them. And then they get attacked, and there's actually a funny line about they actually have karate training. He's like, you know how to fight? And she's like, yeah, I have 3 years of karate. And he's like, me too, and fencing. I'm like, that's awfully convenient and a little clunky to mention now, but I kind of appreciate that they explain why they would know how to fight pre-powers, because sometimes after they morph, you just kind of assume the grid gave them some sort of knowledge or something, but I kind of like that they explain that. And the fencing too, kind of a nice touch. Again, very convenient, but a nice touch. And there was a good fight scene with it. I think there was some generally good stunt fights, and that's what fights are, stunt coordination in this. Like both the civilian fight and then once they morph, there was a lot of good jumping and stuff that made them feel powerful, and some clever ways of fighting. Like there was a scene where they all the henchmen stabbed at him and they ducked down. And it was really cool. And they're having a hard time with it, and then as I predicted, they get tossed the keys after the swords put morphers on them, very Lost Galaxy feeling, and they morph, and there's this interesting constellation-y power thing that comes down on them when they morph, which I'll get back to in a second. And then Zato finally does wake up. In the process of all this, the Sporix, which are basically the monsters, I thought it was just going to be Creon who was going to give Monster Sporix powers, but it's all these monsters that are like these little blob eggs, and they accidentally get released. And Void Knight's mad. He teams up with one of them, but he leaves, but they're spread all over the world. Zato demorphs, and we see his alien form. He introduces himself and reveals the fact that he's telepathic, and that's how he can kind of, by touching them, I don't know if he always has to touch them, but he like shook their hands or whatever and like knew their details of their lives. And he basically explains the backstory, which was very interesting and surprising. Basically, the Sporks invaded his homeworld 65 million years ago. It's confirmed it was 65 million years ago. I mean, we knew from the dinosaur stuff, obviously, but I thought there was a chance that like maybe they operated on and off, like he kept going back and forth into stasis or something like that, and he was, you know, just operating straight through medieval times or something. But regardless, so 65 million years ago, his planet was basically destroyed by the Sporks, and it looks like he and his friends were like these original Night Guardian warriors. And when the Sporks set their sights on Earth, they went to Earth somehow in some sort of night ship, and were fighting alongside the dinosaurs, because, you know, that's practical, but you know what I mean, it's just funny. So they were fighting alongside the dinosaurs, but they still weren't making any headway, and so somebody gave them their powers. And those little portal pops up that we saw at the beginning that looks like a little constellation. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be some sort of, original Ranger suit or Night Guardian thing? Nope. It's the forking Morphin Masters. I can say I did not expect that at all. That was really surprising. Big lore deep cut. I think they got a mention once sometime in original Mighty Morphin as like a throwaway line. I don't remember what season though, but they're mainly a thing from the comics, and they don't look exactly like it, and I'm not sure how much they thought about it, but they do look semi-similar to the comics design. Like, different, but they look semi-similar in terms of like the visor shape and the little triangle thing. I think it looks a little different again, but still, regardless, that's cool. That's really cool. I did not expect that at all. So the Morphin Masters fused the Knights with the spirits of the Rangers and gave them the powers. And that effectively does make the Dino Fury Rangers, unless there's somehow another one later on, the very first Power Rangers of Earth, which probably will upset some people, but I'll get to that in a second. But bottom line, that was pretty cool. And there's this funny scene, because like in that scene when he gives them the powers, that's where the scene came from, of the dinosaur, the Ranger coming out of the dinosaurs. He was standing in front of it, and then the powers came onto him. It's not him transporting out of it. So that's what that scene was. But you get a teaser of like green and black. I don't think you see gold in that scene, but it's teased just because you can see there's 6 of them, the colored gold. But then he says like, I don't know how we're gonna beat him. And he says, well, we'll give you more power. And we get that shot from the trailer from Ryusoulger of like all the mecha and like all the armored powers up, which is really funny because during the marketing, I just thought it was a disconnect between them not wanting to spoil stuff, but then the people putting together the trailer not giving an F. But that was actually in the first episode, and it shows like gold, it shows the armors, and especially it shows the Max Ryusoul armor, which is interesting because Red also makes a comment at Void Knight like, where did you steal that armor from? And it makes me curious whether the armor always looked like that, or maybe because if you know from Ryusoulger, the armors are tied together. Maybe like the armor will take on a different appearance depending on who wears it. So maybe when they defeat Void Knight and he gets it, he'll get the Max Ryusoul armor back. But bottom line is, it looks like all that stuff would have been gotten by the previous Rangers before, and at some point the other 4 or 5 Rangers are lost, unless gold is also old like Zato. We'll have to see though. But then we just end off, you know, Void Knight's going after the Sporks, and the Rangers are going to begin their special training. But very solid episode. Like I said, I knew I was going to enjoy it. You know, even though I've been really apprehensive about the series, I've always enjoyed the first few episodes, and this was very good. I really enjoyed it. There were some clunky dialogue bits and stuff, but for the most part, I enjoyed the characters. I really enjoyed the setup for it. I still miss 2-parters, but I think it was a pretty solid 1-parter that didn't feel the need to like set everything up and the Zords and everything like a lot of Sentai 1-parter premieres do. I thought it flowed pretty nicely. I really enjoy the base. I enjoy the setup. I think I said the setup already. I think there was a lot of mystery setup, I guess is what I was trying to say. I'm really curious about some things, and I like that they answered some big questions right off the bat. I'm definitely curious to see if more of those get answered for sure. I was very, very surprised about the Morphin Masters. I think that's really cool, especially if this is the last series in this continuity. I think that's a cool way of doing it. I'm really hoping that's expanded on later. You know, I'll be very apprehensive about it, but I think that'd be cool to expand on that later. There's probably going to be some people mad that Dino Fury is now the first Rangers of Earth instead of Mighty Morphin, but Mighty Morphin was still the first like known Power Rangers of like modern Earth, like that people knew, because this was back when the dinosaurs were alive, and so the MMPR Rangers still function as that, like the first known Power Rangers. And I don't know if they'll tie this in. I'm not wanting a cameo or anything, but I think that would be cool if this was somehow why the MMPR powers were made that way as prehistoric creatures, if they were inspired by Earth's first Power Rangers. And I think that's just kind of cool. Again, if this is the last season in that continuity, having it be about the first Power Rangers powers on Earth directly from the Morphin Masters is pretty cool. Also, one of my favorite things about the episode, as cool as the morphin grid was and the stunts were and the other stuff I liked, the score was really good. It was really good. We got a little taste of it in the preview clip. We knew we were getting a new composer. I was very cautious. But other than when they morphed, that was the only time I thought I heard a twinge of Go-Go Power Rangers stuff, but that was only because I was curious, because I was looking for it. But other than that, it was all original feeling. There were some really good beats, like there was a really good one that I liked when they were scanning with a drone. There were some good ones in the fights. The score in general, I feel, mixes together kind of an epic, like, night feeling, also with a little bit of that techno vibe you get from the theme song. There's like one specific theme that plays that I'm gonna just feel like is Void Knight's theme that I really like. So not only did I like it and it was fitting of the theme, but that helps forge its own identity. I just recently did that video about how, you know, in addition to the constant Go-Go Power Rangers themes, the fact that all the scores have been basically just a reversioning of MMPR's score has robbed the seasons of their identity and theme. And this, so far, you know, it's only episode 1, we'll have to see. But if they keep this up, regardless of anything else, at least the score is helping Dino Fury feel like its own thing and not just MMPR 30.0. So overall, I really did like this episode, and I was very pleasantly surprised, even more so than I thought. I'm still going to remain cautiously optimistic, but I'm looking forward to seeing more. This is going to be the first video with my new scoring system. I am simplifying things with a 1 out of 5 system, or you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 system. Just real quick, obviously 1 is awful, 2 is like bad, but there might have been a decent part. 3 is okay, 4 is good, 5 is great. I'm going to give this episode, though, a 4. I thought it was very good. I'm looking forward to more, like I said, but I'm going to be cautious. But what did you guys think of the first episode? What did you think of the Morphin Masters twist? What did you think of the score? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notified videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.